Good morning. My name is Elizabeth Northcutt. I work for DeSoto Parish School Board, and I teach kindergarten at North DeSoto Lower Elementary, which is located in Stonewall, Louisiana. Today, I will be teaching a Bridges math lesson called X-ray vision. In this lesson, my students will identify, recognize, locate, and order numbers on the number line. They will also determine which numbers come before and after any number on the number line. Prior to this lesson, we have been working on number identification, counting, and the concept of before and after. I want my students to be able to use this skill of placing numbers in order and determining which number comes after the next number, to use those strategies when it comes to learning how to add and subtract. You know, when you're learning to add and subtract, it can be frustrating, but it's even more frustrating when you have to start all the way back at zero every time. So by doing this lesson, hopefully my children will understand what number comes after and before, and so that way they can start with that number instead of having to go all the way back to zero. In my classroom, I have 19 students. All of my students in my classroom are on different ability levels. They range in different ability groups. They come from different backgrounds. Some of them have speech-only IEPs, some have full IEPs, and some have behavior intervention plans. I have a range of abilities in my classroom. Some students are working on numbers 0 to 5, others up to 10. Some need to work on their teen numbers, while I have a few that work in beyond teen numbers. So in this lesson, I had to differentiate. This lesson only worked on numbers 0 to 10. So for my children that weren't quite on the level of 0 to 10, I took the lower numbers and I put dots on the back of their cards so they could locate those numbers by counting the dots and figuring out what number they had. My other students who needed numbers higher than 10, I added the numbers up to 20 on the number line to challenge them to be able to place those numbers in order. Now that you know all that, let's check out the lesson. Okay, I am looking to see, remember, we are doing a thing, we talked about X-ray vision, and I want to see who can use their X-ray vision to figure out what number is missing on my number line. Let's see. Jackson Carroll, what do you think?
5.
Why do you think it's 5? Come show me.
Okay.
Why do you think it's 5 that's missing?
Because
5 comes after 4. What number comes before 6?
7.
Oh, what would come after 6? Remember, after is on this side, before is on this side. So if I'm looking at 6, what number comes before 6? 5. So do you guys agree with Jackson?
Yeah.
All right, flip it over and let's see what it is. Since you guys just used your X-ray vision to figure out what numbers were missing, I'm going to take all of our numbers off the number line and I'm going to mix them up.
Okay.
And I wonder, do you guys think that you could put them back in order for me?
Yes. We can start by 10 and we can start like if we had 10 right here and we can go from 9 to 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Okay, so Tripp's idea is we could start with 10 and go backwards to 1. Do you guys think that would work?
Yeah.
Does anybody have another idea of a way that we can do it?
1, 2,
Oh, let me see. Samantha, what do you think?
We could go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's really the same thing.
Okay, so Samantha said we could go from 1 all the way to 10. Do you guys think that would work?
Yeah.
We could. Could we start with any number we wanted to?
Yeah.
Why not, Cooper? Do you know what number comes before and after those numbers? So if you know the number that comes before and after those numbers, could you build it? Yes. I want you to turn and talk to your partner about the number that you have and where you think it goes on the number line. Look at your number and talk to your partner and see if you can figure out where you think your number would go on the number line. What number do you have? Do you think it would come before 17? What number would come before 16? 17 after 16. 17, 16.
You're 13!
talked with your partners and you guys have kind of figured out where your number is going to go on the number line, we're going to see if we can't build it together. What number do you have, Cooper? 1. Do you know where would number 1 go? I think number 5 is going to go.
In the middle.
Can you turn it around where we can see it?
You're on the road.
All right, so where are you putting number 5 at?
Wait a minute. Right here.
Why do you think it goes right there?
Because what's 4 goes to 5.
So then you got 1 and you're still missing what numbers? What numbers are we missing? 2, 3, and 4. So how many numbers are we missing between these 2 numbers? 3 numbers between those 3. How could she figure it out?
It goes after 5.
What, Ryder Brown?
Count.
She could count. So can you count, Brandon? Let's figure out where it goes. All right, now here's what I want to do. I know what number would come next. 7, but I don't want to look at 7 yet. I want to look and see who has a number like 15.
I have 17.
Who has a number who has 15? Look at their numbers. Do you have 15? Where do you think 15 is going to go, Jennifer? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So it's going to go somewhere around in there. And remember, this is a working number line, so if we have a number in the wrong spot, we can always move it. It's not fixed. Number 12. Where do you think number 12 is going to go?
After 11.
Oh, I just noticed. Where were you looking at just a minute ago to help you figure it out? You were using our numbers on the number wall. Good job. I love how you're using that resource to help you figure out where the number goes. Raise your hand if you have a number still. So raise your hand if you have a number. Let's count and see how many friends still have numbers. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 more friends that have numbers. I wonder what numbers do you think they could possibly have?
10.
Somebody's got to have a 10. What else would they have?
20. Probably. Okay.
Could possibly.
There's not enough room for.
Oh, do you think this number line goes all the way to 80?
No.
Could it go all the way to 80?
No. 81.
I've got a question. Does number lines, will it keep going? Could it keep going and go all the way to 80? It could if my string was long enough. But you know what? How many friends do we have in our classroom?
19.
We have 19 friends. Do we have anybody that's absent?
We have Anna.
Who's absent?
Anna.
Anna's absent. Anybody else?
Nope.
And Mason. So if we have Anna and Mason, and we had 19 friends here, how many numbers do you think we handed out? 17. Think about it for just a minute.
You count?
Think about it. How would we figure that out? You guys said 17. If we have 19 friends at school, and you said we had 17 numbers, how could we figure that out?
Counting?
How could counting help us figure that out?
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Come on here. My little game thing.
Brooklyn, how do you think that could help us? Well, let me ask you this. If I have 2 friends that are absent, are we adding or are we taking away? We're taking away. So if I look over here on my number chart and I find number 19, how many friends did we have to take away? How many friends are not here? 2. So if I jump back 2, what number am I going to land on? 17. Let's do it. Ready? 1, 2. Look at this number line. And here's what I want you to think about.
We still have room.
Remember how on the 50th day of school we celebrated that 50 was half of 100? I want you guys to look at our number line. Everybody look. And I want you to think about what number looks like it's in the middle of our number line. Oh, so when you count the numbers, you think they're the same number on both sides?
No, it's a bigger line.
What do you mean it's a bigger line?
Because it's big.
Well, I do have one more number to add.
0.
Where does 0 go?
Right there.
Why does it go at the beginning?
Because when we count 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
So 0 always comes before 1. What? Okay, so you guys told me if I had more numbers, if I had another number, 20 would go on this side, right?
Yes.
If I had more numbers, what would go over here on this side?
0. Negative. 1. Negative numbers. 1.
Negative numbers. How do we know it's negative numbers?
Because when we count down, we don't stop. We keep going because numbers never stop.
Numbers never stop. They keep going. So that's right. The negative numbers are on this side. So exactly just like if, you know, when we have our dojo. Remember when we use our dojo?
Dojos.
They get positive, and then they'll get sometimes we have to give them negatives. Well, what happens if we have one positive and then we get one negative? What happens to it?
2.
It makes 2, but if you have a positive 1 and then you get one negative, what's it going to bring our score back to? Because positives means that you go this way. So let's look at the number line. If I start on 0 and I get one positive, how many points do I have? 1. But if I get a negative, which way is it going to make me go?
This way.
Back this way. So then what number will I have?
A
0. I would have a 0. What if I got another negative dojo?
We get negative 1, negative 2.
You would have one negative dojo. Oh, kiss your brain. You got 5. So what's 5 doubled? 10. So who gets to move?
No one. She can't.
She can't move. Where's she at?
She's right now.
Okay, so there's not a 10. All right, so whose turn is it?
4. I got 4.
2. So what is 2 doubled?
I got 4.
4. Do you have a 4? No. What number do you need to move? What number? So what number do you think you need to roll to move?
I got 3. I got 4. So I got 4.
So if you got a 4, what's 4 doubled?
I got 3. 4 equals 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
So is there an 8?
Yes.
Awesome. So you can move. Aliana, hold up before you roll. What number do you think you need to roll to be able to move?
A 10, a 0, or a 6, or a 2.
Okay, so to get a 10, what number would you have to roll?
3. So you need a 1, 2, 3, a 1, 4, 5, and a 0, and a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Oh, you're so close. I love it. A 1. If you roll a 1, it'll give you a 2. If you roll a 5, it'll give you a 10. If you roll a 0, it'll give you a 0. What do you have to roll to get the 6?
It's done now. Look. Okay, I got a 2.
Your boy is done. Think about it. What would you have to roll to get the 6?
Miss Northcutt,
How did you figure that out?
using my hand.
Oh, I love it. You're so smart. Okay, now that you've watched my lesson, let's talk about it. My objective was for my students to locate, read, and order the numbers on the number line, and be able to tell me what number come before and after the number. Most of my students were able to locate their number, determine what it was, and figure out where it went on the number line, and also tell me how they knew it went there, by which number came before and after that number. Next time, though, I think when I do this lesson, I would stick with doing the numbers 1 to 10, and then I would take all of them down and ask if we could challenge them even more and do the numbers 11 to 20 separately. Then we could kind of compare the two number lines together. Also, when one of my little friends was having a little bit of trouble finding out what number he had, the rest of my class kind of tried to help him, and I wish I would have had a number line sitting beside him so he could have used that himself, or even referred back to the number line that we had talked about that morning in Number Corner. After the video lesson, I conducted informal assessments by walking around while they were in workplaces and talking and asking them questions. I also conducted a formal assessment by giving my students numbers that they could manipulate and glue on a number line. With my formal assessment, all but 2 of my students were able to put the numbers in the number line. After workplaces, we cleaned up, came back to the rug, and had a discussion. We talked about what was our favorite part of the lesson and why did we think we did that lesson. Why do we need to know numbers? Why is it important?